fifth and sixth graders. This week we're going to be taking a look at some statistics. Fifth grade, if you want a review of line plots, I just made a video for fourth and fifth graders so you can remember what those are. Today for fifth and sixth, we're going to be looking at how to analyze data, looking at the mode, range, median, and the mean or average. Mean and average are kind of the same thing. And you knew it would happen eventually. This lesson is about chickens and how many eggs I've gotten in the last 4 weeks. So let's take a look at that. In the last, actually not 4 weeks, the last 2 weeks, each day I've recorded how many eggs my chickens have laid, and these are the actual numbers in order. But as I look at that, it's a little bit difficult to make any sense of those because they're kind of all over the place. You go from 9 to 7 to 4, you know, whatever. So the first thing we should do when we're looking at any kind of data is to put it in order from least to greatest. You can already see a lot more reason in this list than you could in the previous one. I can see that there were 2 days I got 4 eggs, 3 that I got 5, and then I went all the way up to 5 days where I had 9 eggs. In order to find the range is a measure of how spread out my data is, or how consistent it is. In order to find the range, I take my biggest number, which is 9, and I subtract the smallest number in my data set, which is 4. And 9 minus 4 is 5. So the range of my data is 5. That tells me that the spread is not really that big. There's only a 5 egg difference between my smallest and my largest. Of course, I only have like 11 laying hens, so that's actually kind of spread out right there. The next number I'd look at is also pretty simple to get. It's the mode. The mode is the number that shows up most often. Get it? M-O mode. M-O most often. Good way to remember it. That means which number comes up the most frequently. In my set of numbers, it's pretty clear that my mode is 9. I had 5 days with 9 eggs and nothing else was close to that. So in this case, the mode for my data set is 9. The next two, the median and the mean, are both measures of the center of the data. Median literally means the middle number in the set after the set's in order. You can't do it when the numbers are jumbled. You have to have it in order first. The easiest way I've found to do that is to just go in one at a time from each side until your numbers are in the middle. So right now my middle two numbers are 6 and 7. I have an even number in my set. That happens sometimes. So my median is what is halfway between 6 and 7, and that would be 6.5. Or you can say you add those two together, 6 plus 7 is 13, and then split that number in half. Half of 13 is 6.5. So the median of my set is 6.5. Finally is the mean or the average, probably the one we use the most often. The mean or the average means if we add all the data together and then split it equally between the number of data points. So in the case of my eggs, if I added up all the eggs that I'd gotten for 2 weeks, and then I split them up evenly, one for you, one for you, one for you, and so on, for the whole 14 days, that would be my average. I've told my kids before that a good way to remember it is it's mean that you have to add and divide. So to find a mean, the first thing you do is you add up all your numbers. So I take all those numbers of eggs, 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, and so on. I already did that, and I found out that for 2 weeks that was a total of 95 eggs. Yes, I do give some eggs away. The next step means I've got to do some dividing. I'm going to split those 95 eggs equally between my 14 days. If I were a math book, I probably would have figured out a way to do that, have my numbers so that there'd be no remainder. I didn't do that. That's real life. So I'm just going to do some division here. So I asked myself how many 14s will fit into 95. I know it's less than 10 because 10 times 14 is 140. That's going to be way too high. So I'm going to take a guess over here on my scratch paper. 14 times 5, 5 times 4 is 20. That's 70. I think I can get closer to 95. 14 times 6 is 24. 6 plus 2 is 8. 84. But if I added another 14 to that, that would be 98, which would be too big. So I've got 6. 14 times 6 is 84 with 11 left over. So that would be 6, and I take my remainder, put it on top. 11, the denominator is 14. So that is an average of 6 and 11/14 eggs a day. Now, you guys all know that my chickens are not laying an 11/14 of an egg on any given day, because that would be an awful big mess in the nest box. An average sometimes is not pretty. They don't always go in perfectly. Remainders happen. It's real life. But the average for this is 6 and 11/14. In the case of this set of data, my median, 6.5, is really close to my average, 6 and 11/14. But you'll find that your mean and your median are not always the same. You're going to get some variation, and 6th graders particularly, I've got some work this week where you're going to be exploring some of those differences and what they mean. I'm going to try to keep this video a little short, so I'll sign off now. It's been great having you. In your printables today, there's a whole bunch of work for you to do, as well as some suggestions of IXL you can get on if you'd like to. And then there's an assessment at the end of the week. This is new. If you get your printables from the bus driver, you can return your assessments with the bus driver when they come to drop off your lunch. You can drop them off at the office at the elementary school, or you can even take a picture of your assessment and email it to me at njohnston@morton.k12.wa.us. That's my actual email. Anyway, talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.